Good morning. We are here at MilAM in the first hours of the show, and this is our very first live broadcast on LinkedIn TV. So hope y'all are going to enjoy the conversations that we're going to have today. I'm Kimberly Gibson, the Industrial Base Integration Director for America Makes, and I have with me two wonderful guests from the Additive Manufacturing Coalition. So Mark, would you introduce yourself?
Sure, good morning. My name is Mark Burnham, and I'm the Director of Policy for the Additive Manufacturing Coalition.
I'm David Cherington, Executive Director of the Additive Manufacturing Coalition. Very good to be here in Tampa.
Yes, so good to be here in chilly Tampa, but nonetheless, the sun is shining. So excited very much to have you guys here. You're my first interview of the day.
Great.
And we've had quite a year working together with the AM Coalition. And I wonder if you could talk to me a little bit about some of the things we accomplished together and where we're at today.
Sure. Well, first of all, for those of you who don't know, the Additive Manufacturing Coalition is a nonprofit trade association. We've been formulated to advance additive manufacturing in the federal public policy. And so we're really trying, as a mission, trying to ensure that additive manufacturing is utilized to the greatest extent possible for our national defense and our national economy. We have been working this past year, along with America Makes and many others, in trying to advance that through efforts including our fly-in, but also policy proposals that were being put into actually the National Defense Authorization Act.
Yes.
And we were actually quite successful this year getting a number of pieces into that bill. But there's more work to be done, so we'll be doing a lot of development work on that. But we can let David talk a little bit about sort of some of the things we've been doing with the language of the NDAA.
The positioning.
Like on the China.
So thank you very much, Mark, and we were successful. Several pieces of legislation were included in the initial process. In the final bill, we ended up with a provision that limits the United States, especially with regards to the Department of War and the military services, that all additive manufacturing components and systems must not be made in China, not be manufactured there.
That's right.
And so that was a major move away from what was becoming a security difficulty for the United States and for our Department of War.
Yeah, the adversarial printer provision has been talked about already today, and I think it's really important that America Makes and the Coalition came out early to frame that discussion and really make sure that we could do something about it.
Yeah.
We had time to do something about it. So talk about the progression of that policy.
Yeah, so first of all, I mean, it's important to understand that we have to sort of find that balance. We have to make sure that there are capabilities available to
Absolutely.
our U.S. military,
Yep.
And that we also are not completely undercutting our existing supply chains. At the same time, we recognize the challenges we're facing with basically technological control migrating to a challenging partner. We'll put it that way. We'll put it nicely, I guess. But the issues really became that we are very concerned about the potential for control of all of these systems, as well as the intellectual property that are being used on those printers, ending up in non-appropriate settings.
Absolutely.
And so we really wanted to work on that. We worked closely with America Makes. We worked closely with the working group that got put together on that. We've done a lot of work in engaging with the House and Senate Armed Services Committees. And a lot of this was about how do we find that. Now, the final version that ended up in the bill gives 1 year to the Department of War to prohibit the purchase and utilization by the U.S. military of any adversarially created printer.
Yes.
So this is really about China mostly, but technically other countries are included, but we're not really concerned about any printers there. But the real issue here is the fact that we need to ensure that there is both U.S.-based and allied country machines available that can actually meet those needs. So part of it is we had developed a policy wraparound, not just the prohibition, but what can we do to make it possible to get the ones that do exist, get those safe? How do we incentivize folks to switch to other alternatives.
That's right.
And we're still working on those. Those didn't get included in the final, so one of the things we're going to be doing this year, talking about what are those wraparound things we have to do in order to make this more than just simply a prohibition, but actually a plan for how we ensure that there is adequate capability and capacity available to the U.S. military.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to get the unsecured printers secured, neutralize any threat they may have, but at the same time, we want to make sure the capability still exists in the organic industrial base. And I think the policy was sound in that, and when we took our team to talk to the House and Senate Armed Services Committee, that you all put that together, I think they listened and they heard us, and it was a really big moment for the community. I think there were some other provisions in the NDAA that we had hoped got in there. We thought they were in there. We felt understood, and congressional intent seemed clear. And then at the last minute, there was some horse trading, and those things got removed. And let's talk about what we do moving forward.
Well, first of all, a couple of those things were, planting a flag. So print 1 million parts and certify 3 most useful metal alloys. And part of that got pulled back just because there was actually a lot of activity going on within the DoD, Department of War, already. That had just gotten started in the last year. So part of it is they didn't want to prescribe that. But at the same time, I think there is an understanding that there's a need for this. So as we move forward, we're working now both with America Makes and the working group, but also with others to develop the plans of what are those policy positions we need to advocate for the next round for the NDAA for FY27, which actually is kicking off right as we speak.
Absolutely.
And some of the issues actually were discussed on the floor today. One of them being, and this has been an issue we've had for a long time, what's the color of money available to DLA and the other program officers to certify a part for a legacy system. Right now, that kind of money is deemed R&D money. Well, that R&D money all goes to new systems, and that makes sense on one hand, but there's not a pot of money for that certification process, and we need to make sure that happens.
It's a real, just real quick, it's a real exciting time that finally the Department of War, but Congress are really looking at these issues. They're wrestling with these issues. They're working forward on these issues, and that for the community, that's new. That's something that's really happened in just the last couple of years, and we're really feel like it's great to be part of that conversation and really helping to represent the community there and help make sure that continues to happen.
It feels like progress, like from when the humble beginnings that we share to where we are today. We're seeing that forward momentum. We're seeing even our congressional leaders being interested and intrigued by what we've been saying. They're starting to fully understand the depths, not at the surface level, and we're starting to see policy conversations that we couldn't even entertain a few years ago. So I call that progress, and that's thanks to you and the relationships that you guys brought, and then interfacing with the membership of America Makes and deepening our relationship. I think it's great.
Yeah. And I think one of the big tools for doing this is through our annual DC legislative fly-in.
I was going to ask you about
and last year we had 52 participants.
Yep.
We did 104 congressional visits in 2.5 days. This year we're hoping for even more. And what we really think is it takes a village in this sense. It takes all of the folks from across the country, what we like to consider a diverse distributed membership, to come to Washington and talk to their members of Congress. A couple of years ago, we would set up these meetings, and you'd get we don't really do that here, and actually they did. They just didn't know.
They didn't understand.
That's the hardest part with Hill staff and even a lot of members. Their exposure to additive manufacturing, because they don't have engineering backgrounds, has been somebody somewhere printed them a little game piece on a desktop polymer printer, so they thought they knew what it was. And when we come in there talking about industrial scale additive manufacturing, they kind of looked at us cross-eyed. Not anymore. This past year, they were like, we know who you are, we know why you're here, let's talk about the policies, and that's why you saw that policy move. So this year, we're going to be coming back. It is registration is open now. It will be April 26th through 28th. We're really excited about that and invite everybody to participate. We'd love for you to become a member of the coalition, but you don't have to be a member to come to the fly-in.
Yes, and thank you for that. I haven't missed one yet, and I'll be there again this year. supporting the entire community through you with all these great visits we're going to set up and really clarifying our message together. And in service to that, here on site at MilAM, we're going to have a working group meeting tomorrow, Wednesday at 4:30. If you all want to join us, stop by the America Makes booth to get some information. For those of you online, if you need anything, you know how to get a hold of us. We'll get you there. And I guess I'm looking forward to some very significant advancements this year with our community in Congress. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for everything that you do. And we'll see you in a few months.
We'll see you in Washington.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful collaboration between our two organizations.
Absolutely,
Thank
absolutely. You. And so have a great day. Hope you have a good show, and see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Again, thanks for having us. See everybody soon.